Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I'm just a little bit late this morning. I had a day yesterday, so I had designed a really nice project for you. And then, as I was looking through the inventory status report, I realized one of the key components of my project was not available to order right now. It will be available to order later. But so I had to do a whole new redesign and decide to do something different. So that project that I was going to do today is going to be scheduled for some time later on. I definitely want to show it to you, but I didn't want to frustrate anyone. So today's project is one that I have been wanting to do for a while, but it took me a little while to tweak it and get it just right. And as I was talking to my mom last night, I was just like not 100% happy. I was happy with the project, the design. I'm really good at the design part. Sometimes I have to tweak a little bit to get like all the pieces looking good together. Like some people have a lot of skill with making something look really beautiful. And I can do that, but it takes me longer to get there. It takes me longer to get to the place where I really like something. And this morning, I actually really liked the project when I woke up. I looked at it with fresh eyes. But then I started creating the supply list for it, and I realized that there was even better matching paper than the one I had chosen because I had gone off suite. I have all my paper in one place, except my 6x6 paper fits in a different place. And so I forgot that there was 6x6 paper that matched this suite. And I was like, oh, shoot. So then I made a new box, and now I'm extremely happy with this one. And I think you're really going to like it. So, and then I had some technical difficulties. But I'm here now, and I'm going to show you this fabulous project this morning. And as always, I will have a project sheet for you tomorrow, but I don't even have the hint of one today. I have a big Post-it note with all the measurements on it. So we will test those measurements this morning as I make this project, and I hope you really like it. Let me share it with you. It is this Snowflake tea light holder. And I have some color changing lights in there. I actually have two tea lights in there. And if I hold this for a while, you're going to kind of see those little holes are changing light or changing color. You can kind of see like if you look maybe right here, you'll see that it changes color. See it changed from green to blue just then. So this is just really cool. And the coolest thing about this project is take it to a dark room or have all the lights off. And I usually use vellum in here for my tea light holders, but it made the project look very dull. You know how you think of snow, you think of snowflakes, really bright white. Well, I use basic weight cardstock here, and this is just the regular thickness. You do want to use the regular thickness, not the thick one here, because when you take it into a dark room, the white snowflake actually glows. So it shine. Some of the light will shine through the white snowflake. So that makes it super cool. You've got the little pinpricks of light. You can see the color coming through if you're using color changing lights, or if I also have these flickering tea lights. I don't know if you can kind of see, it's kind of flickering. It's very bright in my room this morning, so it's hard to really see the full effect. And I have left two links down below in the description of my video with links to color changing tea lights and the flickering tea lights, so you know what to get if you don't have any in the house. So just so you know where you can get them if you have no clue. So this is it just looks really cool. One of the neat things, actually, I'm going to change my camera view so I can show you a little better, because if I open this and tip it, it's not going to do it justice. So let me switch to my other camera and we'll get started. Okay, so I'm going to open, it's like a box, okay? The bottom is glued on there. It's not coming off, but the top is like this. So I've got 2 tea lights in here, and you'll notice I've paneled the inside on 3 sides with gold foil sheet. You can use whatever metallic sheet you want, but what this does, it reflects the light back, and so it creates a brighter interior to this design. And it's kind of neat because I've got the color changing lights. You can see them right there. I didn't turn them on at the same time, so they're actually flickering different lights at me. So they are very cool. If you've never seen the color changing tea lights, they are actually my favorite. This one is probably an older generation because it's not flickering quite as brightly, but they are fun too. Every time, these lights have been getting a little brighter as time goes on, so this new generation will be even better when you buy them today, because I bought these ones a few years ago. So basically what I would do, this would make a great Christmas gift. Put the tea light, or one tea light or 2 tea lights, whatever you want. It doesn't have to be 2. 2 will make it really, really bright. Test it out. See what you think, 2 or 1. Then I would fill this with candy, put the lid on, and then it's a gift. As soon as the person has eaten the candy, the tea light's at the bottom, and then they can turn that on, and then they'll get the nice effect of the lights coming through. So I think this is it's a super cool gift. We're going to make it today in a different color, so I can show you, how you can do different colors with this same one. Okay, so let's talk about the ingredients. The key ingredient that you will need is this Twinkling Lights dies. I'm toying with the idea of making a tea light holder with a Christmas tree too. So let me know what you think about that, if you think I should do that. It will have to be different measurements. This is quite a bit taller and a little bit narrower, so I'd have to revamp if we're going to do that. So let me just pull out. This stamp set is also available. It is available as a bundle or separately. Today I didn't use any of the stamps out of the Christmas light stamp set, but you might want to pick this up as a bundle because you save 10%, and then you can use these stamps on a card, a matching card. If I do the Christmas tree, I will make a matching card to go with it, just so you can see, and maybe I'll even make a snowflake one so we can see how these two look together. But you will need this because you will need these dies. It's a 2-piece set, and you need this little pinprick thing so you can have those cute little dots going through. Okay, then for the top right here, I love this greeting. It says, "May your days be happy, your heart be light, your Christmas merry, and the new year bright." I think that's just so cool for the tea light holder, and it's in the very best occasion stamp set. This one is also bundled with a trio punch, so I only left the very best occasions stamp set link in my description, but just note that this is also available as a bundle, so if you want to check that out before you purchase it, because with the bundles you always save 10%. I use the stitched rectangles dies on top here. It's not essential. A lot of people have these though because they make really nice layers, and there is a little stitching, but you could cut a rectangle to the same size as the greeting if you wanted to. Okay, and then we have the Lights Aglow paper. This matches that sweet with the Twinkling Lights dies, and these colors are evergreen, soft succulent, and cherry cobbler are the main colors in this paper, and it is a specialty paper. It's got gold foiling on it, so it makes it really special, and that's what I changed this out for this morning, because I had picked a different paper and my snowflake holder was slightly different, but I really like this one. It looks very elegant. It's just really nice. I think people will really appreciate this as a gift. Okay, I'm going to show you how to make it. We are going to make it in cherry cobbler. just to change things up a little bit, and because I didn't have time to make a sample in that color. So let's start out. We're going to start with the Simply Scored. We're going to take a piece of 11 inch by 4 inch, not 4 1/4, 11 by 4. Put that long side up at the top, and I need my scoring tool. Okay, so we're going to score at the 2 3/8 inch mark, the 5 3/8 inch mark, the 7 3/4 inch mark, and the 10 3/4 inch mark. All right, so we can set that aside, and I'm just trying to think, should I go ahead and score the top and bottom lids? I think let's just go ahead and do that right now. I might do the order a little differently in the project sheet, but since I haven't written them yet, I will tell you the bottom and the top part of this holder are the same scoring and the same measurements. So you're going to need a piece of cardstock that is 4 1/16 by 3 7/16. Now don't freak out. 4 1/16, just go to the 4 inch mark on your trimmer, and it's 1 tick beyond that. So it's in between the 4 inch mark and the 4 1/8 inch mark. So just look in between and cut it to that point. 3 7/16 is just one little bit shorter than 3 1/2. So that's also very easy. So you're going to be between 3 1/2 and 3 3/8. So both of these are the same measurement, 4 1/16 by 3 7/16. We are going to score at the 1/2 inch mark on all 4 sides. That's an easy measurement. 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. Make sure you do it this way, scoring at the 1/2 inch mark on all 4 sides. We'll set these pieces aside once we're done, and we'll come back to them a little later on. So that's what they look like. Just the edges are all scored on all 4 sides at the 1/2 inch mark. 2 identical pieces. Pop those away. Okay, I think we're done all the scoring. That's good, isn't it? All right, we need to do some die cutting now. First of all, though, I want to find, to make this snowflake, to make sure it's symmetrical, or to make sure it has the same distance on the top and bottom. Okay, so you can see I've got all of the panels as I scored them. There's a kind of a medium one, a large, a medium, a large, and then there's skinny, very skinny. Okay, so the skinny end, okay, find the large panel that is furthest away from that skinny end, so it will be this one. So second in from the side, but furthest away from the skinny panel. Okay, so this panel right here is the one that we want to put the snowflake in. It's one of the larger 2 panels, or wider of the 2. And this distance here is 4 inches. And I need to find the halfway point. So that's 2 inches. Where's my score line here? I see it better like this. So I'm just going to put myself a pencil mark right by the score line at the 2 inches in. And if you're really good at eyeballing, you do not have to do this. You see my pencil marks? It's just at the halfway point down, because when I put that snowflake on there, I'm going to want to make sure that it's close to the middle, because when I put the lid and the bottom on, I don't want it to cover up any of the snowflake. Okay, let's bring in the scoring, not scoring, the Stampin' Cut and Emboss. You'll need your base platform, which is number 1. Let me move this over a bit. The thin die adapter, number 2 plate. You will need a 3 plate, which is a clear plate. Find the panel that you marked, and then we'll bring in this snowflake first. And I like for that, the top one to peek out, I'd rather do this with one pointing up than two pointing up. So I'm gonna just center this, and I'll use those pencil marks as my guide so that they're pointing at the middle of the snowflake. And then I'm just going to kind of, I could have put centering marks here too, but it's so close to the score lines, it's really easy to see if you're centered going the other direction. Okay, once that looks good, I'm going to carefully place this on top. And if you want to, you could also use some Post-it note tape to secure that before you run it through. Let's pop this up and carefully lift this off. And so that's what you get. You get like a snowflake right in the center. We'll put that aside. You can save that snowflake for another project. And I'm just going to, there's some little chads left over. I'm going to use like a card. This is a hotel key card that I forgot to give back. And that makes a good little scraper. Okay, so now what we want to do is we need to also create a little panel. And where's my piece gotten to? Okay, so this piece, this is going to come in behind here, okay? So this piece measures, let me get my measurements right, 2 7/8 by 3 7/8. So just an 1/8 inch shorter than the panel on either side. 2 7/8 by 3 7/8. And now I'm going to take my little snowflake. This one, good idea to just give it a little rub with some wax paper. That will help release that dye a little better. And I'm going to eyeball this because I can maneuver this around a little bit. So I want to get it pretty centered. Oh, and one little thing. You want to turn it, this one needs 2 going on top instead of a single spoke going up. So you actually want it to be the reverse, because this one is going to come in and it's going to sit in here. So on this one, it's just the positioning or the rotation's a little different. Okay, so I'm eyeballing it. We can always maneuver this one a little bit because I cut the panel a little bit shorter. Let's go back this way too. That will ensure all those little pieces got cut. You can tap that, get some of them out of there. And most of them popped out, but there's a few that might need a little hand. Just use a paper piercer, take your pick tool, and just make sure all of them are out. There's also these guys right here, which is almost like a little cross. I just poked them because I thought they looked a little bit better, in a little bit more light if I gave them a little poke. Okay, so I think this is all ready. I think, well, except for the greeting, we've done all the die cutting. Just scrape those little pieces away. We'll come back to the greeting at the end. All right. So let's go ahead and erase these pencil marks so I don't forget to do that. And then let's fold this piece along the score lines. To protect this, since there's just a little bit of cardstock here at the side, I put the snowflake down and then I bend the other panels on either side rather than bending that other panel up, and use a bone folder. And then I'll do the other side. Keep that snowflake down so that I see it's got these little delicate pieces right here, so you don't want to squish them or bend them funny. And then this little end piece right here, let me do this. Okay. All right, so this one we're going to glue in next. It's going to fit in right behind here, and we'll see in a minute how well I've done. So I'll just take my glue, and I want to make sure I hit all of the little spokes that are coming out, because I want those pinned down. I don't want them sticking out and getting caught on something. So I just put a little dot, and then I'll put a little dot on the smaller ones as I go around. And hit all of those. And then I'm going to go around the snowflake, kind of just drawing around the snowflake shape. Put a little here, a little here, a little here, a little here. Okay. I'm going to put this down here. And I'm kind of just placing it. The glue gives you a little time to place that pattern down. Just make sure it looks somewhat centered, and then press down. Okay, so then you can check the back. So there's a little bit that might show right there. So I'll just take my paper snips and just hold on. Just, it doesn't matter if that's not going to show. Right here, it might hang over a little bit on the score line, so I can just take this and just give it a little trim so that it will come together better. Okay. So if you see anything sticking out, now is the time to fix that. You could cut it even a little bit shorter if you wanted to, so that you don't have to play with the panel as much as I did. I wanted as much white on this piece because white is also going to reflect the light, not as well as the gold foil sheet, but it's also going to do a little bit reflecting, so I want as much covered as possible. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now we're going to actually glue some gold panels to the inside. We're going to glue 2 of them, and we're going to save the other one for when we bring it together. So this one right here, one of the bigger ones that we need, this one measures, it's the same measurement as this one, 2 7/8 and by 3 7/8. And then we're going to need 2 more of these. This is 2 1/4 by 3 7/8. And one of them's going to fit here, and the other's going to fit here. But the one that comes across with the skinny panel, I'm going to wait and glue it on afterwards. So let's glue the bigger panel on first. And remember, this is the inside, so you're going to see this part, not the window. Make sure you glue it to the correct side. And just trying to avoid the score lines. It's going to fit right inside the score lines. We'll do this one. You can do this after you bring it together too. It doesn't really matter. It's just a little easier to do while it's flat. But I'm going to show you how to do this last panel afterwards once we've glued this together. Okay, so we're ready to bring this together. And what I like to do is, there's the skinny end tab, and then I count over 1, and I'll bend it right there in between these 2 gold panels. And we're going to put glue right here, just a little bit. Don't go too crazy because it's a very, very skinny end tab. And then we're going to fold over this last panel, and those 2 are going to connect. And when you do that, it allows you to create a very nice seam because it is on your work surface, and you can press down and make sure it really is sticking together because it's a tiny, tiny seam. I usually like to make my seams a little wider, but for this project, I needed as much cardstock for the sides as possible, and so I made a really tiny seam. Okay, so you can see now I've got 2 gold panels and 1 is missing. So we'll just add that other panel. We'll slide that in, and that way this is going to cover that seam on the inside too. So that's kind of cool. Press that down a little bit, and then guess what? We can fold this and press this down. Okay. Okay. So you can see how the box is coming together. That gold, if you don't have gold foil sheet, you can use silver. It just needs to be something metallic that is reflecting, and that really helps bring the light. In fact, even the light that's coming through here right now helps illuminate the box a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to create the lid and the bottom. So you want to fold these along the score lines. And use that bone folder to create those creases. It really, really helps to press down and get a nice crisp fold because this doesn't have a lot of side. So it really helps for when you have narrow sides that you really want to get those nice crisp folds. And then we're going to do the same thing for both. Find the short ends. Okay, there's a longer end and a shorter end. Find the short end, turn it towards you, and we're going to cut in along the score line just to the first score intersection. And you're going to do that 4 times for each piece. And then I want to angle cut these outer ones, so still with the short side facing me, I'm just going to angle cut, and angle cut. Okay, so we'll do the same thing for the other one. Cut into the short 4 times. This is really a special gift, so I know you're seeing, oh, there's a lot of steps to this, but they're not really hard steps. And it's just a really, really special box. So, okay. So for the bottom, let's do the bottom first. I want to glue one short side together first. I'll put Tombow on the 2 corners. And let's do a nice job of bringing those corners together. I'm even bending this a little bit to make sure it's like at right angles. And then bring the other side in. Press that in a little bit. Okay. Okay, so we're going to fit this into the inside. I just want to show you how that's going to fit along the bottom like that. And the reason we're not going to close up this side yet is that otherwise it's going to be really hard to get it in there. So we're going to glue the 3 sides, stick this in, press down, and then we'll finish off the other side afterwards. So I'll put Tombow on this long side on the inside, this side, and this side. And then I'm gonna just bend this out a little bit. Stick this in. Okay. And first thing, we're gonna tip this on the side a bit. And I'm gonna do the side first because that's the furthest one in. Let's get that situated, press down on that bottom. So that's situated. And then the front. The front is also, you want your front to look good. The back, you know, it's important, but it's not as important as the front. And you want to make sure that this is in as far as it can go, like there's no gap on this side, and then just make sure it's in all the way, and then press down on that one as well. It's sliding around a little bit, but that's okay. I'm gonna get it in there. Okay, that looks pretty good. We've got these little tabs. They need to go in first. So I'm just gonna put a little dot of glue right where the tabs are gonna meet. And you just press those down around the edge of the box. And then we've got this last flap right here. Put some glue there, fold that over, and then press down on that side at the bottom. Okay. And there we go. We've finished off the bottom. And if you wanted to, you could do this in a contrasting cardstock color, but I'm going to actually add designer series paper around the edge here. I have done in the past, I have done a complete designer series paper piece for the bottom. So you could do that too if you wanted to, but since this was a bigger box than my typical tea light holder, I wanted the stability of cardstock on the bottom and the top, and then I'm just going to wrap the designer series paper around there instead. But think about it, you could use designer series paper if you wanted to. You could use a contrasting cardstock if you wanted to. I'm just keeping it all one color for now. Okay, so for the lid, you're going to put Tombow on all four corners, because we're not going to glue this to the tea light holder, because otherwise you will not be able to get inside the box, and that will not be good. Okay, I'm just pressing down on those corners. Make sure you've got nice right corners, you know, so it's the score line matches up with the edge nicely. And just give it a little press. Tombow glue holds really, really well. You just need to give it a little press in a few seconds. And there is the little lid, and that will just fit on top of the box like that. Okay. So now we're going to decorate up with designer series paper. And I'm just wondering now, I don't know, it is a little lighter. My phone is beeping. Okay, I'm going to grab some paper. I'm going to let you make some decisions. I've got this paper. I was going to use this one, but now I'm wondering if that's like too bland. But I also don't want it to compete too much. So let me cut some strips and you tell me what you think. I'm going to give you choices. So, and also I have to say that on camera, the pattern is really, really light because it's just the contrast. So this is a very light pattern. The one thing I'm a little worried about, if I use this pattern, I just don't want it to compete with the white of the snowflake, right? Because you want the snowflake to be the showcase of the project. And if you introduce white anywhere else on the project, it's going to draw attention away. So it's a tricky balance, right? Between having a little bit more of a pattern, or I don't know if I can show you this. It's always design element. So this one is a very subtle pattern. It's a little bit more subtle than this one that I had. So you can see, but if I was kind of doing them as a set, I would probably choose the subtler pattern because the other one might be like have too much white in it. Do you know what I mean? So let me know what you think. The one with more white or the one with kind of the subtle pattern. I'll choose what you guys think. So let me know which one of those. And in the meantime, I am going to bedazzle my snowflake with some iridescent rhinestone jewels. These are perfect because they're going to go with any color you choose. You know, even if you don't choose my colors or my paper, these are going to be great. So I'm just going to pop these down here for a moment. And I'm going to stick my hand inside here. This is probably something I could have done earlier while this was flat. Putting up one of the biggest ones in the center, and then I'm using the smaller ones, and I'm going to pop one right here. This is going to make the box look a little prettier when it's not dark, and it's going to catch the light in a different way when it's daylight, right? You want it to have some prettiness. That's not a word, is it? Some beauty or some sparkle in the daylight, and then at night it's going to have the tea light to give it life. All right. Okay, so you can see, isn't that nice? And you can catch the light. So cool. Okay, let me see. All right. Okay, I'm going with the one that has more white, guys. All right, we'll see how much competition this has. We'll see in the end which one we like better. Okay, so the way I'm going to do this is I start off on the ends. I'm going to put a little bit more Tombow, and then I'm going to do a line down here. Start off with the front because, you know, the front's the most important. And I'm just going to press this on here. And then when I come to the corner, I'm just going to mold that corner with my fingers. I'm not scoring it this time. It's just easy enough to mold it. And oh, so you want to know the measurements for these? So they're 6 inches by 1/2 inch. So the paper is 6 inches wide to begin with. So I'm just cutting 1/2 inch strips. And then you're going to have a little bit left over, and that will just cut off. It's just easier to do that than to cut it to the right dimension. Okay, we'll see what this looks like. I think it's looking pretty good actually, so maybe you guys made a really good decision. So we'll do this, pop this on here. And if you want to, you can also put your fingers inside here, and then it will have something to press onto. And you do need to do this afterwards because the sides come in separate pieces. So you can't do this until it's assembled. So it's not ideal, but it's definitely something that can be done. Okay, I'm just molding the corner again. But I'm only gluing one at a time because one side at a time because I don't want glue getting stuck to different surfaces. Okay. This is so pretty. I think you guys made a good choice. Look at that. Nice, huh? All right, we're going to do the top, but not the top on here. We have to do the lid. All right, so I'm going to do the lid in my hands. So I'm just making sure this lines up pressing it down. Actually, we could probably do this. That will help mold around the corner. Put glue on that. This is the ends, so I'm making a little bit more glue on that end. It sure is windy out there this morning. Can hear the wind. Okay, snip. So it's looking pretty good. I'm going to do the long side again. A little bit more glue on the end, a little less in the center. I like that these have kind of overall patterns. I'm not trying to match patterns at all because it's kind of like a neutral all over pattern. Makes it easy. And this paper has a lot of those types of patterns. It's got a bouquet pattern. So lots of different patterns. You can make lots of tea light holders out of this paper. That pack is going to go a long way if you use it just for the edges. And like I said, you could make it right out of the paper. And I'm just looking at my measurements right now. You would need one sheet per top and one sheet per bottom, so the paper wouldn't last you quite as long if you did it like that. Okay, and we just got that last little piece. You've got just a little bit to cut off. And there is the lid. Put it on the box. What do you think? Do you still like it? I think it looks pretty good. It looks it has a little bit more pizzazz than the other one. All right, let's finish off the top. Let's get rid of these pieces first. Okay, so this is the greeting piece, and I'm using that greeting that I read out to you earlier, and I'm going to match the ink Cherry Cobbler, and we're going to stamp this. This is just a piece of scrap paper. Make sure it's big enough, and then you're just going to stamp your greeting right in the center. Okay. And then we'll take a stitched rectangle, and we're going to use, in this bigger set right here, we're going to use the second largest. You could also use the deckled rectangles. They are very similar in shape to these ones. Also the second largest for the deckled ones if you just have those. We'll bring in this, and I'm going to show you a little trick because I want to make this a little shorter. Okay, so I'm gonna cut it once and then I'm gonna cut off again. So what I'm going to do, pop this down, same sandwich as before that I showed you earlier. And this time I think I am going to use a little bit of Post-it note tape. Post-it labeling and cover up tape. You can also use the top of a Post-it note. And I'm just going to center it. I'm going to put a little bit of room just above the May Your Days. And then I'm going to pop that on there right there. And we'll run this through. Usually I do it on a bit of an angle. That's better. Okay. Oh, and I should have said, I don't know if you noticed, I did bring it closer to this left-hand side, and you can see there's more room on the other side. Oh, also the stitch rectangles, really good idea to rub them with a little bit of wax paper beforehand, because these ones, that little stitching can sometimes get a little stuck. So wax paper really helps a nice release. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoot this down inside my frame. You can kind of see I'm going to be on the same stitch lines, but I'm just going to scoot it in a little bit. think right there is good. Okay, angled it a little bit. And just, you can kind of tell you've got the right place when it's centered. The little white that's sticking out is centered from top to bottom. And yeah, it's just centered, and it's level with the edge of the die. If it's crooked, then stop what you're doing. And I'm just going to go over that little bump. As soon as I feel it catch, I'm going to go back over top. So I'm actually not running the whole die through. And then let's see, that little edge just pops off. And now my die is just a little tiny bit shorter. You don't have to do this. You could have centered the greeting, but I just like it just a little bit shorter. It looks just a little better. Okay, so then we'll bring this in, center this on the lid, and I love this greeting. It just is such a perfect match for the tea light holder. So if you make tea light holders, this would definitely be a good one to have. Press that down. All right, and earlier, this ribbon matches the same suite. This is the gold and ivory satin edged ribbon. So I tied a bow with it earlier, and I'm going to use a little bit of tear and tape, and I'll put it aside. What is the back? I think this is the back, actually. And I'll just put it really close to the center because some of my bow is actually going to hang off the edge. And you can use mini glue dots. If you're using mini glue dots, I think you should use 2. I find tear and tape works a little better, so that's why I'm using it. I wouldn't just use a mini glue dot in the center because I find when I do that, it just really doesn't want to stick forever. Okay, there we go. Very carefully so that you don't stick your fingers to your bow, and you're just going to add that right to the center. And I think we are done. Wow. I have made a lot of these boxes or experimented with them. Oh, aren't they cute? They do make a nice set, don't they? And if you get this in the right light, those rhinestones shimmer a little bit. And then we can pop a tea light into each one of these and brighten it up. Close these up. I don't know if you can see them. It's such a bright day. You really need to be in a semi-dark or a dark room for it to show really well. The other thing is in a really dark room, the whole snowflake will glow with that light through. But you always have these little pinpricks right here, these little holes, and that's going to show through the colored light if you use color changing tea lights, or it's going to show through the flicker really nicely because you've got that little inset right there. Candy wise, this is a pretty big box. Let me just take the tea light out for a second. So you could fit a lot of candy in here. I'm just gonna bring some candy in just so you can see a little bit. Okay. So look at all of these kisses. I don't know how many there are. I'm sure there's about 20 of them. So I'm pretty sure, I don't want to take them all out, but I'm pretty sure about 20 kisses could fit in this box. So it is quite big. So the measurement here, the outside measurement is 3 inches by 2 3/8. So with the panel and everything, it might be just a little bit of shy, but 3 by 2 3/8, and it's 4 inches tall. So you've got a lot of room for candy. You could probably even put a small gift in here. The holes, they are not going to give away too much of the gift that is inside. So I wouldn't worry about that. Just to show you like the size wise, in case you're familiar with different candy. Oh, let me pull this out. So a Ferrero Rocher, if you're going to fill them, like there's going to be a lot of them in there. Okay, this is a nice size gift box. Okay, and let's see what else. These are regular size Ghirardelli squares, so you know a lot of these could fit in here. You could like do a line. You could do 2 lines of them. So you can see there's 4 in there right now. Probably could fit about 9, and probably about 18 total in this box. So it is a nice gift. As it stands, you could just give it as a tea light holder too. It doesn't have to have candy in it, but I know people like to might want to do something a little bit more. So I just wanted to show you what that would look like. Aren't those sweet? I love them. Oh, you can see a little bit on the red one. The little green light was shining through a moment ago. That's kind of cool. It's certain light it does a little bit better than the other ones, but yeah. Okay, I'm really happy with these. What do you think? Should I do one with the Christmas tree in the future? Do you think that will look nice? I can give it a whirl and see if I come up with a design that looks nice for that one too. Let me know what you think. Well, I come back over to you and talk to you for a little bit because I've been doing a lot of talking. Moving into lunch hour, Eastern Standard Time, but that's okay. So I already told you about my project sheet. Make sure you're on my email list to get the project sheet on Saturday. Check down below in the description of the video for that link. If you are already a subscriber, great, because you're going to get that project sheet anyway. It's not just a one-time deal. And when you get that welcome email, when you subscribe, you will have access to my past project sheets as well. And guess what? I have been doing project sheets for almost 3 years now. I started in 2019, end of October. So we're coming up almost on the 3-year anniversary of project sheets. And I know so many of you love them because it just gives you a nice, concise overview of the project with the measurements. And then you have the links right on those project sheets so you can find my blog post again, so you can find my video again. So it makes it nice and easy. So when you get your welcome email, if you don't get a welcome email, check your spam folder because that's probably where it landed. And it is 2-factor verification to get on my email list because that way we know that it's you and we know that it's getting into your to the correct email address, because I don't know if you've ever typed your email address incorrectly before, but that can happen, right? All right. If you enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my channel and click on the bell if you want notifications. All the supplies that I used today they're actually below as well. And they are on my blog post as well. If you want to pop over to that, to the blog post, you will have a photo supply list. So you'll be able to more easily identify what exactly everything is. I do have a host code for the month. So if you want to purchase projects, products to make my projects. Here is the host code for September. And if you use that host code and if you spend at least $50 in my store, my gift to you this month, I'm reaching over to get it, is a sampler, a 6x6 sampler of the Celebrate Everything Designer Series paper. There are 48 sheets in here, but they are not 12 by 12. They are 6x6. It's a nice little sampler pack to get in the mail. This covers a lot of the fall holidays, Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving. Great paper for that. So definitely something to get. And if you spend at least $15 with me, 15 or above, you will get to choose one of my free with purchase tutorials. And that's also if you place a larger order as well. If you earn the paper, you also get the tutorial. Okay. I think I have done enough talking. I just want to make sure that I cover all my bases because I don't want anyone to be like, well, that was a nice project, but how do I make it myself? I want you to know how to get everything that you need for your project. And if you have any questions, please email me. My philosophy are there are no stupid questions. The only stupid question would be the one that you didn't ask because, I really want to answer your questions and make sure you get the information that you need to make the project. Okay, I'm going to go quickly because I know we're way over time today. I want to say hello and answer any questions you may have. Hello, Verblue. Good morning, Marty. Hello, Dee and Sue. Oh, we've got people from all over the place. Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Texas. Hello, that's Sassy. Hello, Denise. Denise says it's a cute project and great idea to use the full cardstock inside. Yes, any color. I like the gold right now because the gold you can buy two sheets at a time, and so you don't have to. You probably will need gold foil at some point. So the Stampin' Up! Gold foil sheet is really the most accessible to buy in one color right now. So that's the reason I use gold, but use whatever metallic foil. You would just want something that's going to reflect the light back. And Marty said the tree with lights would be awesome. Okay, well, I will definitely play around with that and see what I come up with. Sue says she loves this light box. Thank you. Hello, Birgit from Germany. Yay. Dee says, it's a very elegant looking piece without the designer paper. Well, thank you. I think the designer series paper just adds just a little bit to it. So that's really nice. Let me see. Okay, we already talked about the paper, and I ended up going with the white one, but you can see what the subtle one would kind of look like because I did use on the evergreen one, it was a very subtle pattern. So we've got two different looking ones, but they're both really sweet. So I'm just keeping on reading your Sue said, I can see why you needed to shorten the label a little. It looks just a little bit better. It does fit on there. There is extra room to fit the label on, but it's just a little bit better when it's a little tinier. Sue said that she ended up buying 2 of the stamp sets. I'm assuming it was the greeting stamp set. I really like it too. Okay, Marty said, could you add holes into the larger snowflake with a paper piercing tool? also you mentioned vellum and said you didn't like it. Why? I am a fan of vellum normally. And oh, you know what? I don't know if I kept my... Okay, I did cut the vellum. But what happened, and I don't know if I have... Yeah. Okay. I'm going to tear apart a project that I had. Oh, I think it's not going to work too well. But anyway, the vellum looks fine when it's in a dark room, because then it's going to let a little bit more light through than the white. But what the vellum doesn't do is it looks very dull. I don't think I have a cutout piece left, so I can show you the difference. But it isn't quite as bright white, so it looks kind of like a dull gray when it's in the box versus like a really bright stark white that you would want for a snowflake. And because this is already a dark color, I chose a dark color to pop out this snowflake to make it really, really bright and white. It just looked a little dull, a little lackluster. So the interesting thing is, though, in a dark room, that white, the regular, not the thick, it's going to let in light. It's going to shine through a bit. So I figured, let's just do that, and because we've already got some holes going on, I think I actually didn't even test it with the vellum to see what the difference was with the light shining through with the vellum. But I really feel like I made a good decision with just the bright white snowflake versus the vellum. Not for all tea light holders. I've done some other ones where I've used vellum and I've been very happy with that. But for this one, snowflake, white, bright, I think it works really well. Marty says you could put Milano cookies in there. Yes, absolutely. If you're putting cookies in there, though, if they're not individually packaged, make sure you put them in a cellophane bag, because cookies are made with some fat. You probably remember from science way back in the day, or even just from, cooking in your kitchen, it will make your cardstock, the cardstock will absorb some of the oil. So that's why I'm always, not the oil, the fat. I'm not sure what they use in Milano cookies. I'd have to look at the ingredient list, but whatever it is, it's going to transfer onto your project. So make sure you wrap it up. If you're going to do your homemade baking, make sure you put it in something that isn't going to transfer any ingredients onto the box itself. Okay. Sue said, beautiful. Marbear said, do a tree one. Okay, I'll be working on the tree one. Definitely the tree would be beautiful with the multicolored tea lights. Those tea lights are just so cool. Like, I'll pull this out so you can see it better. But they change to different colors. And it's just really cool. Are you stuck on one color? They change different colors. They go into a purple. Oh, there we go. There's the green. It was just slow, like me this morning. A little bit slow. There we go. Really nice purple. So they really change and look beautiful. So if you don't know what those are, look below. I've got a couple of Amazon links to the flickering ones and the color changing ones below. Sue said, you are very detailed, and so are your instructions. Make it easy to follow. Well, thank you, Sue. I'm a detailed person generally. Marty said, also click the thumbs up. Oh yeah, I always forget to tell people, click the thumbs up on my video. That helps other people find me. So it's very cool if you will do that. Hello, Susan from Colorado. First live that you caught, and what a great project. Thank you, Susan. It's because I'm a little late this morning. I apologize for being late, but maybe I'm catching some people that normally don't find me, so that's kind of fun. All right, and Marty, Thank you. I'm glad that you know that the vellum versus white makes sense. Okay, everyone. Well, I hope you have a great weekend. Watch for my project sheet in your inbox tomorrow. And yeah, just I hope you have a sunshiny weekend. The sun finally came out today, and I'm so grateful because yesterday was a dull, dreary day, and we missed the sunshine for sure. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye bye.